What up, fam? It's me, Fuzz Martin, and this is my podcast, a show about positive things happening in and around Washington County, Wisconsin. And you, look in the mirror. You're an awesome person. Thank you for listening. School is back in session. Before you know it, the holidays will be here. In fact, less than 3 months from now, it'll be Christmas, friends. While the needs of families don't change just because of the season, it is a good time to reflect and think about how you can help out. This week, Kristin Marx joins me to talk about Kewaskum's food pantry, Kewaskum Community Pantry. Kristin talks about how the organization got started, what kind of donations they need, and how you can get involved. It's a great organization that helps provide for those who need it most in our community. And with that, here are 15 minutes on the Kewaskum Community Pantry with Kristin Marx on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Kristin, thank you for coming in and joining me today on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Can you give us a little bit of the history of the Kewaskum Food Pantry and how it serves our community?
Sure. Kewaskum Food Pantry started in December of 2009 by Tom and Barb Knorr and Sandy and Emil Radetsky. And it started in a closet.
The pantry itself actually was a pantry. It started in a closet.
They had to go up and down the stairs and into basically a crawl space. And they would keep the lighter things on top and the heavier things on the bottom, obviously, because it up and down so much. Barb always jokes that was the most in shape she's been.
So before that, there wasn't a pantry in Kewaskum at all?
No, they started it and they saw a need for it. And
was the community served by like just other local communities then at that point?
Right. Yeah.
Obviously the need was there. Some people who really cared enough put it all together. Now you've been serving the community since 2009. How many families would you say rely on the Kewaskum Community Pantry for food assistance on a regular basis?
Well, I can tell you last week we had a record number of 27 families, which is pretty high. I think when it first started, it was under 20. And then it's typically between 20 and 25 families per week. But, as prices go up, there's a bigger need and kids are back in school.
And so that's obviously, if that's a record number, that's been going up over the years and that average is going up?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, we've definitely noticed an increase in the last couple of years.
Obviously, there's all sorts of different things that people donate, and there's the things that people think they need to donate, and then there's things that maybe people don't need to donate. But what are, for the Kewaskum Community Pantry, what are some of the most needed food donations for families right now?
Well, we keep I'm doing air quotes here. We do a top 10 list on our Facebook page. That's where you can find us. It's more than 10 items. It's items we're constantly in need of. But basically, we're looking for anything right now. Our shelves are really low. Our back stock is almost non-existent. Like frozen lasagnas, frozen dinners, beans, ramen, macaroni and cheese, juice.
So you do take frozen items?
We do.
Okay.
We don't have a ton of space, but we do accept frozen items. We accept most anything as long as it's not expired.
Okay.
And we cannot accept homemade items, homemade canned items, things like that. If people process their own deer meat, we can't accept them either. We just don't know how it's processed.
Sure, that kind of chain of custody with making sure that it's sealed and packaged.
We have to be careful. We can accept wild game if it's done by a professional and it's stamped.
You said you need everything, but are there certain specific items that you need more of at any given time? Like some hot items that or staples that people need?
Sure, like rice. Rice is always good. Rice and sides, hamburger helper. It sounds silly, but I mean, we need things to feed people. We try to do healthy things, but sometimes it's just, we need something. Hamburger helper, rice, aroni, those types of sides, instant potatoes, beans. You
had mentioned, deer meat and homemade items. Are there any other sorts of donations that you specifically cannot accept or won't take?
Typically just those. And if they're expired, we cannot accept them. That's really the only limitations.
So if a family, needs to pick up food, when is that pantry open?
Our hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:15 until 6. And if the Kewaskum School District closes for inclement weather, we close too. There have been case-by-case basis where people needed food
and
they can't make it. So we look at that at a case-by-case basis.
Do you have times of the year that are busier than others at the pantry?
Donations tend to slow down in the summer months, I think,
Okay.
just because everybody is so busy. But so that's why things are low right now.
Mm-hmm.
And now going into holiday season, we've got Ames Fitness right here in West Bend. I believe she's off of Newark Drive.
Okay.
She is fantastic. And actually, I just looked up the post. She did 50 Thanksgiving packages for us last year. So that's pretty amazing. She is a huge supporter of the Kewaskum Food Pantry.
Great. And so she collected donations and put those together at Ames Fitness. And
She gets her clients and reaches out to her network of people, and she works really hard. And if they don't get to the store to purchase the items, she'll take a monetary donation and she will do the legwork for people.
Awesome. And you had been saying that Latch's Piggly Wiggly and Aaron Latch in Kewaskum there have been big supporters as well, right?
Absolutely. They do a roundup program, and it's been extremely generous. Our community is amazing.
And there's the barrel there too that you can donate food to, right?
Yep, you sure can.
Yeah. So each week our family will put in, a few things here and there. And so I think it's important that a strong community make sure we're taking care of those that need it the most, right?
Absolutely.
As you come into the holidays, do you see an uptick, or is it like after, school starts and such, do you see an uptick in need for that? Or
there's a need year round, but like I said, it going from summer into fall, we see an increase, and it just kind of keeps going from there. We keep the momentum going, and we have a lot of families.
You have a lot of families that have needs. Are there needs also within like the senior communities and things like that, or is it mostly younger families?
Our families range. There are people with small children. Right now, we don't have any families with infants.
Okay.
But we do have families with young children, and it does range all the way up to the elderly on fixed incomes.
Do you guys take formulas and stuff, even though you don't have any infants at the moment?
If people donate them to us, if we don't have a need, we will reach out to other local communities to find out if they have a need.
Sure.
But we will not waste it. We will always make sure that it can go somewhere where it's being used.
Very good. If somebody needs help from the Kewaskum Community Pantry, what's the process for them to get assistance? Do they just come between those hours, or do you have a sign-up program? How does that?
Nope, they just come when we're open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:15 to 6 p.m. And as long as you reside in the Kewaskum School District, we can serve you. Just bring your ID.
Okay.
And if you are out of our area, we have a list of resources at the pantry. I just compiled for Washington County and Fond du Lac counties of local pantries. I haven't gotten as far as Sheboygan or Ozaki yet, but we'll work on those coming up here.
You just recently took on this kind of leadership role with that. How long have you been volunteering or helping with the Kewaskum Community Pantry?
Well, my first experience volunteering with Kewaskum Community Pantry was in 2020 during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how or why, but I had learned that Kewaskum has a food pantry. I didn't know we had a food pantry up until that point, and we've lived in Kewaskum for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like during COVID, everybody was a little bit kinder, and it's a bit of a silver lining of that situation. But
sure, yeah.
There was so much negativity online and in real life that I wanted to do something. So I did a food drive out of our house, and I think we had 67 boxes.
Okay, great.
Of food. It was like,
I think I remember that. Yeah.
It was crazy. I had to move all of our furniture out of the room and just boxes. But that was a really amazing experience, and we took everything over. And from that point on, I had an interest in the food pantry because it's amazing to give back to people who may not
have the resources.
Yeah. Then Aaron had reached out to me when he was in the process of purchasing Piggly Wiggly, and he was stepping down because it's a fine line of owning a grocery store and working for the food pantry. Yeah. So he had asked me if I would be interested in taking on his role, and he told me I just had to sign the tax returns. So That's
how they always get you, Kristin.
So I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And these people didn't know me. And I mean, these people by the other volunteers. I just come in as a new person, and, I think they probably thought that I had big ideas and wanted to change the world. And
I just have to sign the tax returns.
Right. They are the volunteers like Barb, Shelly, Ann, Judy, Sandy. They run it so well that there's really no role for me other than I like to do social media. I like to be the feet on the ground type person, put me to work. I'll do the heavy lifting. Josh will help me, my husband. We're kind of the worker bees, and we will help in any capacity. And they run it so well that there's really no reason for me to be there.
Oh, it's great. And it's awesome that you guys have strong volunteers there.
They're amazing.
And I want to go back real quick to the point that you had made that prior to 2020 that you hadn't known about the food pantry. And I guess we didn't even discuss this. Where is the Kewaskum Community Pantry located?
So the Kewaskum Community Pantry. Yes, I didn't know there was a food pantry in Kewaskum because fortunately, my husband and I have never had the need for it. But we moved to Kewaskum because it's a small town. We love the close-knit feel of our community. And it was just, once I found out it was there, 1504 Regal Drive, right by the elementary school, I found a little niche where I just wanted to get involved with the community and try to do something good.
Yeah. And yeah, it's that little building that's like on the turn that has no stop sign on second and Regal, right? Yeah.
The one way where everybody goes the wrong way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a building with no windows, overhead door.
Yeah. If you're from Kewaskum and you live in Kewaskum, you know the one way that everybody goes the wrong way in.
I think initially they thought, because the school district built it, so they kind of thought that if the pantry didn't take off, that, hey, we'll have another storage facility for sports or, maintenance type thing.
Yeah.
But here we are.
There you are. Well, I mean, it's great that we have this in the community for those who do need it. Do you also take monetary donations?
We do.
Okay. And if somebody wants to do that, do they just make those donations during the times that you're open, or what's the best route for that?
People can take a donation to Latch's Piggly Wiggly.
Okay.
Or they could drop it off during open hours. Or I've had people, Eric and Stacy Anderson from the fifth quarter. Now it's RT's fifth quarter. But Eric and Stacy were amazing. They always, between their patrons and them, they would always do fundraisers and they would just reach out.
Okay.
They would call and say, hey, we've got a check here. Can you come pick it up? And I'm more than happy to do that as well.
Sure.
And every dollar donated goes back to the Kewaskum Food Pantry.
Great. And the best way to get in touch, is that through the Facebook page, or is there a website?
Josh would say I'm addicted to my phone. So I maintain it. Yeah, I do the email. It's kewaskumpantry@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or the Kewaskum Community Pantry Facebook page.
Very good. If somebody wants to volunteer, is another way to go, just to reach out to you that way?
Yes. If you want to volunteer, you can reach out to Barb Knorr. She is our lead volunteer, and she will handle all of the, the training and like the orientation basically for all new volunteers. We used to have approximately 10 volunteers, but through the years and during COVID especially, it dropped way down because, COVID. But now there's 4 volunteers, and it's a lot of work for them. They say they're fine, but you know how it is. You're good at what you do, and it's sometimes hard bringing a new person into the mix.
Sure.
They are open to volunteers, and if you want to volunteer for the Kewaskum Community Pantry, you can call 262-626-4448, and Barb will reach out to you when and if we need somebody.
Great. What do you find the most rewarding about being a part of the Kewaskum Community Pantry?
Giving back, hands down. It's also really nice meeting the community, just to interact with the people that you're helping, servicing. The patrons of our pantry are really kind people. They're nice people. And it's just nice having that added touch of getting to know them and feeling like you're doing something worthwhile with your time.
Well, we really appreciate you and all the volunteers that donate their time and help those here in our community and help make our community stronger. And again, if people want to get in touch, it's kewaskumpantry@gmail.com, right? And Kewaskum Community Pantry on Facebook.
Yes, I shortened the email address just because it's a little bit long of a name. So It is kewaskumpantry@gmail.com, and the Facebook is the Kewaskum Community Pantry.
All right, very good. Kristin, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Fuzz.
Thank you again to Kristin Marx of the Kewaskum Community Pantry for joining me on this week's edition of 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Their email address and the link to their Facebook page is in my show notes for this episode. Or if you're new to podcasts, you'll likely find them in the description section of your podcast player or in the web post for this episode at 15withfuzz.com. And if you ever have an idea for the show, HMU, as my Gen Z daughter would text me. That means hit me up. And that means contact me. LOL FRFR. You can get in touch with me by going to fuzz.cc/guest and filling in the form. That is fuzz.cc/guest. Or email me, 15withfuzz@gmail.com. That is 15 spelled out withfuzz@gmail.com. New episodes come out on Tuesdays, but you can listen whenever you want at 15withfuzz.com. We're talking popcorn next week, and that's when I'll talk to you next, right here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz.